Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
So help picking out a double-acting spring hinge. I can help you with that.
Okay, so I'm using 1x2s, and I'm making a dog door. I have a German Shepherd, and so I need like a 10x15 door. But I don't know like what size of hinge is going to fit on that 1x2, and the frame and the door will be 1x2s. And then what's like, are they rated by how strong they swing it back shut?
They are not. They're rated by weight, generally. How thick will your door be?
Well, I'm just going to make a 1x2 frame, and then I'm going to put plexiglass in the middle of it. And then the frame and the wall will just be 1x2s. It's just a garage wall that's not, it's just the sheathing and the siding. So there's not an actual wall there. It's just pretty open. But I live in North Dakota, and the wind comes blowing in. And I've looked at all the reviews on the $200 dog doors that are made out of plastic, and everybody says their dog destroyed it in a year.
Mm-hmm. So your 1x2 is 1.5 inches wide?
Yep.
Okay. So I would, and you want it to be double acting?
Yes, because she's got to go in and out.
Where do you want to hinge it? On the sides or at the top?
I was thinking at the top.
Okay. And how thick will the door be?
Just the 1x2s, 1.5 inches.
Oh, yeah. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So we are, so it's going to be quite light. The door won't weigh but maybe, 4 pounds. What size will it be?
Right. At 10x15. So it'll be 10 horizontal and 15 vertical.
Okay. Let's take a look. I think you might want inch and a half thick. Yeah, I would suggest the part number that, well, it's going to be quite light, so you won't need, so the hinge has to actually do a lot more work than it otherwise would do, and you might, well, given how light the door is, and this is going to be, yeah. So a part number that I would look at, may I give you one to look at in the site with me?
Sure.
So that part number would be 1515-601.
Okay. 1515-601. Oh, sorry, I didn't have my numlocks on. Hang on.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah.
My cats like to lay on my computer and turn my numlock off. Okay.
Click on the first one.
Hang on, I must have typed something in wrong because I've got -601. So I've got lockout tags.
So 1515-601.
Yep. Okay, there it is. Yep.
So click on that item, and then when it comes up, you can scroll down and click on instructions, lower left-hand corner.
The video?
No, click scroll down below that. Although
okay,
the video
I see.
Click instructions.
Instructions. I see the hammer right there.
The video would be beneficial for review after our conversation. But when that document comes up, if you look at step 5 on either side of the page, that's what it'll look like in cross-section.
Okay, yep.
But what are you installing this into?
So on the wall, I'm gonna just make a 1x2 frame, and then I'm going to make the door out of the 1x2s. So I'll just have a layer of sheathing and a layer of siding, and I'm just going to screw the frame to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured I'd have to mortise this into the 1x2 frame at the top, correct?
No, it would be surface mounted at the top of your
Okay,
rectangular.
perfect.
Yeah. So my only concern is that the hinge needs to not only have enough tension set on it where it will allow the door to double act, but also the spring tension will need to keep the door snug up tight to it because it actually has to carry the weight of the door. And I'm concerned that you might need to set so much tension just to keep the door from sagging that it will present a noticeable force to the dog when she's coming in and out. So
okay,
you might want to consider putting it on a vertical side.
On a vertical, okay.
Or
do you have a different hinge that's not self-closing? Because I did think about using some rare earth magnets at the bottom and just putting a little metal plate at the bottom so it would, hold itself shut. Is there a double-acting hinge that's not self-closing?
Well, all of the double-acting hinges require spring tension in order to keep the door and the, to prevent
Close.
it from coming
Yep.
into a prone sort of position or a prostrate sort of position.
Yep.
So what you could simply consider doing is, as you are building your unit, you could, if you get your 1x2 frame built and
yep.
then get it in place and then run, drill some holes and run a pin through there, you would be able to just attach it that way, and gravity alone will allow it to self-center. The issue is you're going to need, that's another problem with that design, you're going to need quite a margin around the door at the bottom edge where it's opposite the hinges because of how a 1.5 inch thick item is going to need some clearance between what it is swinging over on top of. So there is...
I figured I would use that, like that brushy weather stripping.
Yeah, okay, sure. Right on. I think that your door will never come to center without there being some spring bias with that sort of obstacle. So there's another piece of hardware that you could use part of to in my idea where you build the perimeter, put it in place. The next part number would be 7890-603.
Okay.
And that's a 2-piece pivot assembly where you would use the male part of it only and attach that on the inside.
Oh, yes.
And then run you'll have to mortise it to your 1x a little bit because that 1x is going to be about 11/16 thick would be my guess. And the projection of that pin is not quite that long. So you'd mortise it in a little bit. And then once you get it in place, you'd run a couple of screws and it'll stay there. Super cheap. But the pile that you put there will have to be exactly that pile, not bristle, but a soft pile. Because that door is going to be so light that it wouldn't take much to keep it from gravity bringing it to center.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I could use this pivot hinge instead of a spring hinge.
Well, yeah, that pivot assembly is just a component that's used in a type of double acting spring biased piece of hardware. You'll be able to, and then of course your perimeter will be in place and you'll have to attach your plexiglass while the unit, the structure of the perimeter is already in place. which
Okay.
wouldn't be a big deal. So that's what I'm coming up with. It's not super awesome, but it would work.
Well, I did see a video where somebody built a dog door and did use, he just used pins, and he just drove from slipping out, but I thought, well, that's kind of sloppy because it's not centered.
Right, because it's so light.
Yeah, and this is a much better, and I've been looking for this type of pivot hinge, but I couldn't find anything on the internet, so. Perfect. And then I see, so we are remodeling an 1881 farmhouse.
Where? Oh, you said North Dakota?
In North Dakota, yes. And
Boy, think of the Indians that have just gone by on their horses or on foot that would have seen that house.
I know, isn't it wild?
Yeah, 81 would have been really when the government was like, we're done with this. You're going to the reservation, a little special area of interest, more Comancheria to the south, well south of North Dakota, but nonetheless, my goodness.
Yeah, my grandmother, their farm is over on the river, on the Cheyenne River, and she just had a ton of like arrowheads and rocks that were used for tools and just quite the collection. It's pretty amazing.
I believe it.
So what do you have for, I have a door that, of course it's a little thicker than the new doors, because it's a full 2 inches, and I put a lock set, I salvaged one, we have a whole pile of old doors, but it's too deep. So from the, what do I want to call it, from the edge of the door to where the door handle would go in, it's too deep. Do you have any that are old style that are a little shallower?
Are you looking for a hinge?
I'm looking for the actual whole lock set, you know, that little box that slides in. I've got a beautiful plate, I've got beautiful doorknobs, but it's just this one particular door where for whatever reason, it's a shallower lock set box.
Sure, because the width of your style is smaller. It's 4 inch or 3.5 inch or something small.
Yeah. Let me get my tape measure up here. So to the center where the doorknob would go, to the edge of the door, is 2 1/4.
Sure. So what is the thickness of the door?
The door is 1 3/4.
Okay. So we can certainly have a mortise lock manufactured to fit into that small style. How wide was the entire style?
The style is so the door itself is, let me double check here. Yeah, 1 3/4, and then from the center of where the door handle would go to the edge of the door is 2 1/4.
Right, but how wide is the entire wood part of that? So it's maybe 3.5 or?
Oh, okay, the style. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. It's actually 4 1/8.
Okay, so that's so there are certainly, you know, places online where you can buy salvaged material. So I would consider looking at that. I have a manufacturer who can make a mortise lock that is going to fit into that narrow style, that will have that small back set that you've mentioned. There won't be a problem with that. The issue is that the height of the prep in the edge of the door and the width and the mortise or the pocket itself will have to be remachined to accept the larger unit that will go in there.
Okay.
Then the only other obstacle there would be it would have to be manufactured so as to accommodate. Stand by one moment, please. Just stand by.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for holding. So the only other obstacle would be the the size of the spindle, the square piece of metal that goes into your knobs and through the lock body. We'd have to know that so that they can manufacture the hubs accordingly, the internal part. The upside is I can sell you exactly what you need to salvage this piece of American history. The downside is what I just said is a few $100s for sure, material only. So
okay.
I'm a student of locksmithing, meaning I study the science of locksmithing, and I have gotten so terribly confused as to how something works that I have gone out to a salvage place online and I found a piece of lock from 1895, so I can take it apart and figure out its secrets. So you might check that first, and I don't think it'll be cheap, but I think it'll be possibly, a better solution. Knowing that my name is Richard, and I can order you a mortise lock that all you got to do is prep the door, and it will work. Assuming we can make the internal parts fit your key stock, because the size of your knobs, that's determined. We can't change what fits into it. But I'm quite sure that we can.
Okay, so I need to and then my husband, who was born in this house and grew up here, he has a whole collection of skeleton keys, so I guess I need to find everything and are skeleton keys all the same or not?
No, so the term skeleton key is actually just what us amateurs use, people like me and you. The proper term is a bit key is the proper term for that. It's called a bit key. A skeleton key is a highly perverted bit key where it's been meant to pass multiple locks, but the common vernacular is skeleton key. The answer is no, they are definitely not all the same. There can be several, there can be a few dozen different ones, but a skeleton key is a bit key that has been skeletonized so that it will pass multiple locks. You could have a skeletonized bit key that we'll call a skeleton key that may work your lock. Sorry for the long answer. It may work, it may not work.
No, that's okay. Well, and this particular door doesn't need to ever lock, but I just like the idea of, restoring it to where it was.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, you certainly have given me a ton of information today. I am going to kind of go to work on my door and see if I can't solve it. I used to work for an architect, so I've designed the door in Autocad, but now I have to actually really build it and see if my design will even work.
And why are you using Autocad to draw a door? What do you need to verify?
Oh, I was just playing with different scenarios, like, so if I, how to put that felt stuff. There's some that has like a quarter of an inch plastic, and okay, so how do I mortise that in? Or, it's like, okay, so how am I going to have to saw this to get all this stuff to fit so the dog doesn't just destroy it?
Yeah, I am using I use LibreDraw sometimes when I want to take a pivot and the client needs to be told where the vertical axis of pivoting is to lie. I'll draw that really quick in just a LibreCAD because I've not spent enough time teaching myself AutoCAD Lite or LibreCAD. I have no need for the real horsepower, and 2D is enough. But yes, without it, it's, there's guesswork. And I've been thinking all this time that you might also fill your door, if you got a little fancier with it, fill your door with sand just to bias it towards to give it a little bit of weight, not too much though.
Oh, yeah.
Enough to overcome the pile, but not too much so that the dog's like, wait a minute, this is killing me doing this.
Yeah. So if I use the pivot hinge, do you think I could get a tighter fit if I took a router and rounded the top and the bottom?
Well, that's precisely the heart of the matter, and that's where our drawing programs come in and tell us what radius you're going to put on the outside edges, and as a result of that, what minimum gap you can have between, in your case, what would be the sill and the edge of the door itself. If you were to take just a roundover bit, a 3/4 roundover bit, and knock that off, you'll be able to tighten that down like to 1/8 of an inch or something in that range. But if you leave it square, without plotting it, without putting it into my drawing program, you're going to need something closer to a 1/4 inch is what you would need.
Okay.
If you have the means and the knowledge and the tool, I would definitely take it to the next level because you can. You've got the router, the bit, and the knowledge.
Okay.
Or a router table. You run your pieces on a router table first.
Yep. I've got a router table. So, okay.
That's great. I think you're hired. This is great.
Okay. Well, I saw your videos explaining the double spring hinges. I'm like, okay, this is the guy I got to call. He's going to know. Then also in your building supply stuff here, I need to build 2 picture windows. Do you sell any like window building stock or not?
Like the exterior trim and perimeter?
No, like the framework to put the glass in. The roofer that we put a cedar roof on here, and the roofers broke out our picture windows. This was like 9-10 years ago, and no one was living here. And right now there's just plywood, and I want my windows back. But the house will be remodeled in the next 5 years, and the windows might get, in fact, larger. So I didn't want to buy a window just to tear it out and put a different size window in, because picture windows are kind of spendy.
Yeah, they are. I don't is the answer. The only thing that I might have for your home would be the bronze or zinc weather stripping for double hung windows. The sill sections, the rib strips, that stuff we do. But outside of that, when it comes to residential windows, we don't. We sell Division 8 material, commercial hollow metal doors and hardware.
Okay. No, and I do need some of those bronze or zinc strips. I just took some out. I've been taking all the windows are maple frames, and I've been taking them all apart and getting them cleaned up and painted, and those strips have been mangled over the years, and lets a lot of cold air in when you don't have those.
Right on.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go work on my design a little bit, see if I can round the bottoms, and then I will probably I'm probably going to order the pivot hinges from you.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with that.
That would be the way to go. Yeah, I think that's going to be the easiest. Well, and then I have cats that need to come and go too, and they definitely don't exert as much force as a 80-pound dog. So.
Right on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your help today.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.